He looked my dad in the eye and laughed. "Good luck getting your money," he said, adding laughing emojis to drive the point home. My dad clenched his jaw. He wasn't just out rent money, he was disrespected, lied to, and robbed. But this man didn't know one thing: my dad knew exactly where to hit him, and it would almost cost him his career. If you've ever been scammed, disrespected, or underestimated, this story will hit home. Hit that like button if you've ever tasted justice. Subscribe for more revenge stories, and tell me in the comments what's the most satisfying payback you've ever seen. My dad has always been a patient man, the kind of person who believes in giving people second chances. He owns a small house, nothing fancy, but it's been a reliable rental property for years. Most tenants respected the place, paid on time, and left without problems. But then came them. At first, they seemed fine. A family who presented themselves as decent, respectable, even trustworthy. My dad thought, this will be easy, good tenants, steady rent. But 2 months in, everything changed. The rent didn't come, not a penny. Now, my dad is reasonable. He gave them time, assuming maybe life had thrown them a curveball. He said, "It's okay, just get me caught up next month." The following month came, and still nothing. By this point, my dad wasn't just missing rent, he was out 2 months of income. His patience started to wear thin. He sat them down and said plainly, "Look, I can't let this go on forever. You owe me rent, but if you leave the house right away, I'll cut you a deal. Just pay me half of what you owe, and we'll call it even." It was a generous offer, too generous honestly, but instead of gratitude, they counter-offered smirking, "We'll leave the house clean, and as compensation, we'll leave all of our furniture behind." Deal now. To most people, this would feel shady. But my dad just wanted the nightmare over. "Fine," he said. "Leave the place tidy, and the furniture stays." Deal done, or so he thought. The day my dad walked back into his property, his stomach dropped. The smell hit first. Trash bags split open, food rotting, stains on the carpet. The walls had scratches, scuffs, even holes. The place wasn't just dirty, it was wrecked. And the furniture, the compensation they promised, gone, every piece of it. Even worse, the furniture that belonged to my dad was gone, too. A dining set, a few chairs, things he had bought to make the house comfortable, well, almost everything. The only pieces left were 2 old sofas, but even those weren't inside. They'd been dragged outside and shoved in the shed, where they were left torn, stained, and ruined. It was like they'd gone out of their way to spit in his face. My dad called them, furious, demanding to know why they had stolen his things and left the place destroyed. And their response, "Oh, don't worry, we'll pay you for the furniture in 2 weeks. But my dad knew better. He pressed, "I want payment sooner." That's when the mask came off. They laughed, actually laughed, and said, "Good luck getting your money." Imagine being in his shoes, months of unpaid rent, a destroyed house, stolen property, and then the smug audacity of being mocked to your face. My dad's chest tightened. His hands shook. He wasn't just angry, he felt betrayed, disrespected, played for a fool. And that was when something inside him shifted. This wasn't going to slide, though. Now, here's the part they didn't count on. My dad knew exactly who this man was. He wasn't just some random tenant. He was a pastor, a Christian pastor running a church in the community. The kind of person who preached about morality, honesty, and living a righteous life. And his son. He worked at the church too. My dad thought about it. He wasn't the type to spread rumors or try to ruin someone's life. But this wasn't gossip, this was theft, deceit, and flat-out disrespect. And if this man was preaching values while living like this behind closed doors, didn't his church deserve to know? So, my dad made a call. Respectful. He explained everything to the church. How the pastor hadn't paid rent for 2 months. How he promised to leave furniture as compensation and then stole it instead. How the house had been trashed, and how, when asked for accountability, he mocked and laughed. The person on the other end listened. They didn't sound shocked, more disappointed, interested. They said they would look into it. That was all. My dad didn't expect much, but he felt lighter, like he had taken the first step toward justice. The very next day, the phone rang. It wasn't the church, it was the pastor's son, and he was furious. His voice exploded through the speaker. "What do you think you're doing? Calling the church? Are you trying to ruin us? You're being completely unfair." My dad stayed calm. "I told the truth, that's all." The son cursed at him, shouted, tried to intimidate him. My dad hung up. The phone buzzed again. He ignored it. It rang again, and again. 10 times in a row. He didn't answer once. And with every missed call, his suspicion grew stronger. The church, Must have said something. Sure enough, the pieces started coming together. From what we learned later, the church leadership had confronted the pastor. They told him, if you don't settle this with your landlord, both you and your son could lose your positions here, their jobs, their reputations, their status, all on the line. And suddenly, the arrogance disappeared. That same day, after weeks of excuses, mockery, and lies, my dad received a payment, not partial, not delayed, the full amount for the stolen furniture, wired directly to him. No games, no more laughing emojis, just money in the account. And once that was done, they begged him to back off. He did. Not because they deserved mercy, but because the point had been made. Justice wasn't about squeezing them for every cent, it was about proving that their hypocrisy, their arrogance, had consequences. And watching them squirm, knowing their livelihood was almost ripped away, that was more satisfying than any dollar amount. Later, my dad sat back and said something that stuck with me. It was never about the money, it was about the way he treated me. As a Christian, it broke my heart to see someone use the name of faith while lying, stealing, and mocking. I just couldn't let that stand. And that's the lesson here. Sometimes revenge isn't about payback and cash. It's about holding people accountable. It's about balance. About proving that arrogance and deceit will come back to bite harder than you could imagine. The pastor thought he was untouchable, thought he could scam, steal, and laugh. But in the end, his own community, the very church that gave him against him when the truth came out, and my dad, he walked away with dignity, with justice, with peace. Sometimes, the sweetest revenge isn't about what you take back. It's about watching someone choke on the lies they thought would protect them. Justice doesn't always come from courts or fists. Sometimes it comes from the truth, and the truth alone can destroy a hypocrite. So let me ask you, have you ever seen someone's lies blow up in their face? Drop your story in the comment side, love to hear it. Smash that like button if you enjoyed this tale of poetic justice. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories where karma comes knocking. Because remember, sooner or later, it always does.